Okay. Oh man, this is tough. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'll just say this: Packers making the playoffs, Vikings are making the playoffs, Lions are making the playoffs, Rams are making the playoffs. That's four. Buccaneers are making the playoffs. That's five. Six. Got two wild card. I need two wild card teams. So that would be yeah. Who do we think is going to make the playoffs in 2025? You
Okay.
know, every single year things change. There's always like one or two teams that make the playoffs that didn't make it the previous season. So I want to look at it from this. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of change. Maybe one team, maybe two teams, maybe one team per conference, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of shuffling going on. I do believe for the most part that almost every team that made the playoffs in the NFC last year are going to make the playoffs this year, with the exception of maybe so. But so the
Vikings.
Packers. Well, I don't know. I don't know. So let's look at this. Let me bring up the playoff standings from last year. Playoffs,
Obviously, the
NFL.
Eagles was the first seed.
Yeah.
Detroit was the second seed.
Yep.
Minnesota, no, it goes by division. So, I
I
think
think
the
Detroit had the best record in the NFC that year. I think the Eagles had the second seed. It's just Detroit a loss to the
oh
Commanders.
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
yeah,
they did
here
have home field.
this was the bracket last year. Detroit had home field advantage, and the Rams they won their division last year. I believe it was only one NFC West team, and it was the Rams. And then you had the Buccaneers who won their division. You had the Eagles, obviously, and then you had the wild card teams with the Commanders, Vikings, Packers. So, out of all the teams on here that you see from the NFC side, who do you think is not going to make the playoffs in 2025?
Not going to make it. I'm going to say the Vikings
Okay.
because JJ McCarthy is a rookie.
Okay.
We haven't really seen much. I don't. Did he even play a single snap in preseason?
He did, but it wasn't a whole
He
lot.
did.
Yeah, he
Okay,
did. It
we
wasn't a
haven't
whole
really
lot.
seen much from him, and this is a tough. They're in a very tough division now.
Hmm.
Like you got. They're gonna have to go against obviously you guys in Detroit twice a year, and then the Bears aren't going to be any pushovers either. I'm not sure if JJ McCarthy's ready just yet. I think he's about a year away to really start leading this team to play. But then again, he could be an excellent rookie coming in. Well, not a rookie, but technically his rookie year because this is first year started. He could be that guy to get them to the playoffs. I just don't see the Vikings making it this year, and if they do, they probably be early round exits because they got some issues on that team. I mean, it's a very talented team, and they're
Very
well
solid.
coached, but QB matters at the end of the day, and you can argue that they have the worst QB out of the division. So I'm
Whew.
going to leave. I'm going to leave out the Vikings. Everybody else, I think they should make it. If I had to pick a team that would sneak in their to replace the Vikings, I think I'm going to go. I think I'm gonna go Dallas.
You what?
I
What?
think I'm.
The
I think I'm going
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
The Cowboys making the
On
playoffs?
one stipulation, Micah has to be signed. If they don't get a deal done with Micah, the Cowboys not making the playoffs. Other than that, I mean, I guess maybe between if not the Cowboys, my second bet guess, why should be something silly like San Francisco or something. I can absolutely see the 49ers weaseling their way into the playoffs this year because that schedule is cake.
It is, but they lost a lot of talent.
They
I
did,
don't
but
know.
49ers, they just even when they was bad last year, they were still competitive, and it was very annoying because they took that they was in it with Detroit, week 17, I believe that was. So you never know. I don't like counting out the 49ers at this point. They just like they're a roach. They just don't go away.
Oh man.
'Cause I'm not a big believer in Atlanta either, honestly.
Oh, so I'll say this. I think so with Minnesota. I think they're very talented. They are very talented. I think their secondary is a bit skeptical. I like Byron Murphy. Isaiah Rodgers is okay, but the secondary is a bit skeptical. They do have some really good edge rushers, so they'll be fine with that. And then you have Dallas Turner as he's not even starting. Your first round pick isn't even starting because you have two
Don't
Pro
say
Bowlers.
the dude from the comments gonna show up. Y'all leave some very funny comments on.
Hey, I mean they made a good point.
I mean,
because
true. I mean, it's true, but they be
Greenyard's
writing
pretty good.
dissertations. I'm like, y'all just academically inclined about sports. Y'all need to apply to some writing jobs or something.
Bro, they be writing whole papers. I'm like, damn. Whole papers. Anywho, but yeah, two Pro Bowl caliber edge rushers are in front of Dallas Turner, that just lets you know how good they are, how much depth they have at that position. It was Greenyard, Grenard, I forget his name.
Grenard, I think is how you say it.
Grenard and
Jonathan Grenard is that
is
his
it
name?
Van Ginkel? Is it Van Ginkel?
Oh, Van Ginkel, he was hooping last year. I thought he was more of an off-ball guy.
Or was it? I think
no. Pace plays off-ball. He's I believe Pace is the wheel.
I think it's Van Ginkel, Andrew Van Ginkel, and
Andrew Van
Grenard.
Ginkel. Yeah, he did have
Grenard are the two edge rushers in front of Dallas Turner. So they have a lot of depth. The linebacking position is pretty good. The secondary is pretty mediocre outside of maybe Murphy and Rodgers. Smith is okay, but he's up there in age, so we don't know how much longer he'll be able to play at a high level. But yeah, I like their defense. They were really good last year. They have a really good scheme. I just think they're too talented. They did just trade Thielen, who he's up there in age, but no, yeah, they traded for Thielen. Excuse me.
Yeah, they traded for.
But he'll play in the slot, which is perfect for him. I think they're just too talented.
They probably liked how good he was for Bryce Young, how reliable how much Bryce Young relied on Thielen. It was like, okay, we got a young QB2, we might as well bring him on board. You know?
And he knows the system. He played in the system before with Kirk Cousins. He's played with the coach before, so this is a perfect fit for him. I think they're just too good to not make the playoffs. I think JJ McCarthy, I know this is going to be his first year starting, but it just seems like the situation is too perfect for him to not look bad. I would be shocked if he looks bad in this situation. I think he'll be good enough to at least get this team to a winning record and get this team to the postseason. I don't think they're going to win the division. I have the Lions winning the division, but I don't think JJ McCarthy has to look as good as Sam Darnold to get this team to the playoffs. Because when Sam Darnold was at the helm, I think they won maybe 13 or 14 games. I don't think it's going to take them 13 or 14 games to make the postseason. Probably 11.
Well, my thing is it's not necessarily the win total. It's about how will they perform in division play.
Okay.
Because if they drop 2 against Green Bay and Detroit, it's going to be a hard sell to get them in the playoffs.
I don't think they dropped 2 against the Packers. I think they split with the Packers. I think they could sweep the Bears. I don't think they get a game off on Detroit though. I think Detroit has Minnesota's number. That's how I look at it. I think so. Yeah, that's just the way I look at it when it comes to those teams. I think it boils down to with Minnesota. I don't think they will get a game off on Detroit, but I do think they'll split with the Packers, and I do think for the most part that they'll probably sweep the Bears. If not, at most, probably split with the Bears. That's just how I look at it. So Minnesota, I just don't see them not making the postseason. It would have to be just catastrophic for them, like injuries galore. injury bug would just be plaguing that team, or JJ McCarthy he looks like a deer in headlights when he's under helm as quarterback. But I just don't see, with all that talent, with the play caller that Kevin O'Connell is, I just don't see JJ McCarthy folding under pressure like Trey Lance did with the 49ers. I think JJ McCarthy is better than Trey Lance coming out. I think JJ McCarthy fits a whole lot better in that Kevin O'Connell scheme compared to Trey Lance and how he fit with Kyle Shanahan's scheme. So I just don't see it happening. The team that maybe the odds are the Commanders are the team with the best odds to not make the playoffs, in my opinion, just for the simple fact that the talent compared to the other teams isn't nearly in the same level. So I would say maybe the Commanders. I understand they did bring in Debo. They re-signed Terry McLaurin. The offensive line, they did draft somebody, I believe, in the first round in the
Connolly
draft. So
but it don't look like he's going to start.
Yeah. I don't know. Marshawn Lattimore, does he still have enough left in the tank? They did improve the secondary a little bit. I mean, it's not really hard when you have one of the worst secondaries in the previous season. If there is a team that's not going to make the playoffs, I think more time than not it's probably going to be the Commanders, because what they did last year with the schedule that they have, and it was a lot of luck involved. They got very fortunate with the schedule that they have, with some of the teams that they faced. I just think that the Commanders this year, are they going to be able to replicate that? I don't think so. I don't see them getting 12 games again. I think they're going to have to win probably 11 games to get back to the playoffs. I don't see them winning 11 games. I could see 10 games. 11? Boy, that defense is going to have to step up. I don't see Jaden Daniels being able to carry this team with a bad defense or with a subpar, mediocre defense. I think the defense has to step up.
I think Jaden Daniels can do it simply off the fact that he did it last year. But on the same note, the defense definitely needs to step up, because giving up an average of 137 rushing yards per game is not a recipe for winning football. I would say that much. And they did have a crazy fourth down conversion rate. Like, I think they was like 90% on fourth downs last year, which is a crazy clip. So, listen, that offense I think the offense will be fine. The offense will probably be dynamic long as Cliff doesn't revert to his old ways. But that defense is absolutely under the microscope this year. And I'm expecting teams to play keep away with them a lot of ground and pound. Going to try to keep the defense on the field at all times, keep Jaden off the field, because we all know what happens when he gets on the field.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just the defense, man. I'm concerned with the defense. That's really what I'm concerned with at the end of the day. The Falcons are a bit of a question mark because of the defense. Although they did draft 2 edge rushers in the first round, there's still going to be a question mark with that secondary. And is Michael Penix, is he going to be good? Is he a good quarterback? Because we didn't really see a whole much of Michael Penix until later down the road in the season. And I was looking some of the advanced analytics in regards to Michael Penix. It didn't look all that well. So I really don't know much about the Falcons, and if they can improve from what they did. They were in the hunt for the playoffs last year. They nearly made it to the playoffs, even with bad QB play, mediocre QB play, bad QB play with Kirk Cousins, and mediocre QB play with Michael Penix Jr. If there's a team that's on the bubble, it's probably the Falcons. And you mentioned the Dallas Cowboys. I would say the Dallas Cowboys are probably on the bubble as well, and probably the 49ers as well. But I do think that the NFC East, only one team is going to It's tough.
You sure just one? I don't know, man.
This is tough. It's tough. I don't see the Cowboys making the playoffs. I don't see the Giants making the playoffs.
I'm telling you, the Cowboys. It's always when you expect the Cowboys to do good, they falter. But when you don't expect them to do good, that's when they just all of a sudden pop up and win 11 games or something crazy.
Okay. Oh man, this is tough. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'll just say this: Packers making the playoffs, Vikings are making the playoffs, Lions are making the playoffs, Rams are making the playoffs. That's 4. Buccaneers are making the playoffs. That's 5, 6. Got 2 wild card. I need 2 wild card teams, so that would be 6. Damn. 6. This is tough, man. This is tough. I don't want to
just put the Commanders in there. Just throw them in there.
Fine. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna put the Commanders in there. I can't think of another team. I'm not gonna put Seattle in there because I don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't trust some of the pieces. I don't trust the offensive line. And the 7th team.
Maybe the Niners. I don't know.
Yeah, but the Niners don't have a whole lot of their talent has been depleted ever since they won the Super Bowl. So do I really trust the 49ers?
But they definitely probably going to be a team that treads water the first half of the season and then pick it up the second.
And the Arizona Cardinals as well. Like I don't know about the Arizona Cardinals. They have gotten a lot better. They improved that offensive line. The defense has gotten better. Even without Walter Nolan, I think they're still going to be improved defensively, even though their defense wasn't all that great last year. But I don't trust Kyler Murray. That's another thing. Kyler Murray is a question mark, and the offensive scheme could be a question mark as well. Damn. You know what?
I'm gonna just seem to have bad luck. I
don't know, man. You know what? Before I make my final decision, I have to look at what was the playoff teams from 2023.
It was Cowboys, Packers, Rams, 49ers.
Let me see.
Was it Vikings that year? 23? Yeah. No? I don't remember.
Let me see. All right. Where is it?
I want to say the Eagles made it but got bounced early. But don't quote me on that.
Let me share this. Okay, I think here we go. Let me share it real quick. So this is from 2023. So the Packers made it, 49ers made it, the Cowboys made it, the Lions, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Eagles. So the teams that didn't make it in 2024 was the Cowboys, the Niners. So it was 2 teams.
Yeah.
Only 2 teams. And then if we look at the AFC side, the Browns didn't make it. The Miami Dolphins didn't make it.
And that's Steelers?
It. Yeah, the Steelers made it.
They lost. I think they lost to the Ravens, I believe.
Yeah, they were pretty bad last year. I mean, they still made the playoffs for whatever reason. So it was only 2 teams. So 2 teams in both conferences. So who would be and the Niners didn't make it because of injuries, and the Cowboys didn't make it because of injuries. So who would be the 2 teams in the NFC that don't make the playoffs because of injuries? I don't know. I can't really project.
Low key, maybe the Rams. If Stafford ain't healthy,
that is a good point, man. You know what? I'm gonna just play it safe. I'm gonna just say there's not gonna be any change in the NFC this year because I can't really I can't really predict what injuries are gonna occur with what teams, unless there's been reporting involved regarding a team and a lot of players being hurt. So I'll just go with the safe pick. I'll just go with I don't think any team will miss the playoffs from the 2024 NFL playoff. So that's me. What about you?
I'm gonna still hold firm on my Vikings miss the playoff take.
Okay.
And the team that replaces them will probably be
the Cowboys.
I low key want to put them there, but I can't.
What
put
about
my
the
faith in
Bears?
these fools.
What about the Bears?
No, just
No.
no.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 49ers. I'm gonna say 49ers.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. All right. What about the AFC? AFC last year.
One team I'm dropping out of the playoffs for the AFC is the Steelers. I know that defense is probably going to be insane this year, but Aaron Rodgers, he put on some bad tape last year. If you just look at the stats, you'll be like, oh, he wasn't that bad. But like, I literally just saw a clip an hour ago of Garrett Wilson smoking Jalen Ramsey on a out and go or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it was some route though. And he went vertical. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball. It should have been an easy touchdown. He ended up out of bounds. So I'm like, listen, I like the Steelers defense, but their offense is low key kind of smelly. Like outside of DK Metcalf, it's looking pretty regular, middle of the pack, maybe even below average. Because Calvin Austin, he's like a gadget, not a gadget. He's like a wide receiver 3, but he's your wide receiver 2. And then your running backs being Jalen Warren and
Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson seems promising, but Jalen Warren as your lead back, I'm just not really feeling it. The offensive line is still suspect. They need to get some development from Broderick Jones and some other guys on that line, and you still have Arthur Smith calling plays. So I just can't put my faith into the offensive unit. I think the defense will be good, but they're still going to be subpar in putting points on the board because at least with last year, you had Justin Fields and Russ to bail you out with their rushing ability. Aaron Rodgers ain't doing that at 40-something years old.
Okay. So who do you have replacing the Steelers, if that's the case?
All right. Who do I have replacing the Steelers? I'm going to go with... Oh, that is a good question. Oh, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, wow. I got the Bengals getting in.
So you trust that the offense will be good enough to carry that team and carry the defense?
I trust the fact that since they signed in Trey Hendrickson again and they paired him up with Shamar Stewart and hopefully they get some development on Myles Murphy, they should be just enough to get pressure on the QB to make the secondary just look a little less pathetic, I would say. See, and trust it's gonna be you're gonna have to win the band for band off against Joe Burrow in them every week. And they were close to getting in. If they won, they won most of their games closing out the season. They was only, I think, what game screwed them over that they couldn't get in. I think Miami screwed them over or something like that. That's why they couldn't get in.
Well, I'll say this about the Bengals: they're gonna have to win some division games. I know that.
True.
They were really bad.
I don't think they were able to beat the Steelers last year
or the Ravens.
But I think they can get at least one on the Steelers this year. And I know the Browns usually play them super tough for whatever reason. So hopefully they can possibly sweep them due to their QB situation.
They have a tough time against the Steelers. They have a tough time against the Ravens. and even to a certain extent to the Browns, like you mentioned. I think they can beat the Browns. I don't know about sweeping them, but they'll definitely get a game off, at least at minimum, against the Browns. But the Steelers, on the other hand, I don't know, because given the history and given how Mike Tomlin coaches against the Bengals, and then they just got rid of their defensive coordinator in Lou Anarumo. They replaced him, and I don't know, man. They haven't really gotten a whole lot better on that defensive side of the ball outside of one or two. I don't know if they're still there yet defensively to be even a respectful defense. I don't see it.
Hey, but hey, defense probably not gonna be that good, but actually based on what we saw in the preseason, they're probably gonna be terrible. But because they did have the starters out there and it was still getting torched. We saw what Jaden Daniels did in one drive, made them boys look crazy out there. He ain't even throw a pass. So that defense definitely gonna get shredded, but that offense seems to be working like a well-oiled machine. Joe Burrow just hopefully doesn't try to avoid 18 sacks and just throws the ball away come regular season. If not the Bengals, the only team I could really see stepping up and taking that spot is New England, and that's due to coaching pedigree and the fact of their roster quite a bit.
I don't know. I don't think New England's going to make the playoffs. I think that offensive line is still a work in progress. I think they're still a few pieces away before they can really compete for a playoff spot. I'll say this, though. The team that, if they can get any sort of semblance of decent QB play, I believe they'll take the Steelers spot, and that's the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
I think the Colts have everything you need to compete right away. The only problem is the quarterback position, which is the most important position in football. They have everything you need except the most important position in football. They have a good play caller. Shane Steichen. They have a good defense. They have the talent. They have the wide receivers. They have the tight end. They have everything you need. It's just, can Daniel Jones, can Anthony Richardson put this team in a position to compete and win enough games? I think they won 8 games last year. They were 8-9. Given how bad the quarterback position was, they still won 8 games. And I believe if we can get more consistent quarterback play, that 8 wins can turn into 10 or 11. I believe here's my bold prediction. I believe the Colts make the playoffs over the Steelers this year. The division that they play in, and I do think that if they can get a little bit better QB play from a Daniel Jones who took a team to the playoffs,
that is true,
an Anthony Richardson, I believe the Colts can be that team to get to the postseason, especially when you play in the worst division in football. So I'm going to go with the Colts. I think the Colts take the Steelers spot, even though the Steelers have a really good defense and they have DK Metcalf and they have Aaron Rodgers. I just think the Colts and the overall talent itself is just too much. So that's my vote.
That's fair. That is, that's actually fair. Because on paper, outside the QB position, they pretty much have what they need.
Yep.
And they have good coaching. So if Daniel Jones can at least play like he did on the Giants back in 2022, I want to say that was.
Something like that. 2022.
If he could replicate that kind of performance, they could very well be in the playoffs.
Yeah. But for the most part, I think every other team is going to make the postseason again. I think the Chargers, Texans, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Broncos, I think all those teams are so good. I don't see any other team usurping them that wasn't in the playoffs last year. The only team that I could think of being in the outside in is the Steelers. I think the Steelers are the team that you look to and you say, okay, they're on the bubble. I could see them not making it because of maybe it's like an injury or two. Aaron Rodgers, he's up there in age. The offense isn't all that good. So I can see the Steelers being the team that you X'd out and then you put in the Indianapolis Colts because they're just so talented. They can win probably 10, maybe even 11 games. Who knows? Because they're just that good as a roster. So
Exactly.
those of our predictions. Or did you gave your prediction for the AFC or you?
Yeah, I said Steelers out, Bengals in.
Okay, all right. So Brian believes the Bengals will be the team to make the playoffs instead of the Steelers. I believe it's going to be the Colts. So